When choosing a model of trousers, it is important to pay attention not only to the model but also to the fabric from which this model will be made. The main focus is on the choice of fabric. The process of manufacturing the product consists of specific stages. The main stage is designing the product as well as cutting. Cutting is an important and responsible moment in garment manufacturing. It consists of two stages: preparation for cutting and the cutting itself. First and foremost, I would like to point out that when cutting, the fabric is folded in several ways. The first method is folding. The second method is stacking. The layout itself. The patterns also differ from one another, depending on the structure of the fabric. Before cutting the fabric, it is necessary to dictate it. Only after this can we proceed to laying out the patterns on the fabric. When laying out the patterns on the fabric, we first pay attention to the direction of the warp thread, meaning the warp thread on the garment pieces match the warp thread on the fabric. If the fabric is smoothly dyed, then the pieces are placed in different directions, thus saving a bit. After planning the main pieces, we lay out the small details. The front and back halves of the trousers are laid out. The warp thread should run down the center of the garment and correspond with the warp thread. On our fabric, a deviation of 1 to 2% is allowed. The same goes for the back half. The warp thread runs down the center of the garment, matching the thread, the warp thread on the fabric. Accordingly, after placing the pattern, we apply seam allowances. They also amount to 1 centimeter. For the side seam, an additional 3 to 4 centimeters is added. We cut out the darts, leaving them. We placed them and performed the grounding. The patterns. We will show the successful one for the fastening on the front half. Next, we add seam allowances. For the side and inseam, they equal 1 centimeter. They range from 3 to 4 centimeters. When look along the waistline, it is also 1 centimeter, and an allowance for processing the fastening is added. We do the same with the back half of the trousers. The warp thread and the center of the trousers must match. Yes, indeed, the warp matches the center.